Hi, everyone. Welcome to a brand new episode of Not Aspirational. I'm your host, Hannah Aaron Brown. Happy Wednesday. I hope everyone is having a gorgeous week so far. I definitely am. I'm super excited about today's episode because, y'all, I had a very exciting guest on the show. I had the opportunity to chat with a true legend in entertainment. He is the director of some of the most quoted comedies of all time. He directed Airplane, The Naked Gun, BASEketball, Scary Movies 3 and 4. I got to chat with the inimitable David Zucker. So since the 70s, David has put his signature stamp on Hollywood with his spoof-style comedies, trusting himself and his comedic instincts and taking them all the way from a theater troupe in small-town Wisconsin to the silver screens of Los Angeles. And while it hasn't always been easy, David's story is one of perseverance and resilience and heart, and I was honestly just so inspired hearing about how he's carved out his niche in Hollywood and what he's working on now. Before we get into our conversation, I want to let all you creatives out there know about David's spoof comedy course. It's called Master Crash, a crash course in spoof comedy, and it breaks down his 15 essential rules to write, direct, and edit an effective comedy and the Zazz method of spoof writing, which he created with his brother Jerry Zucker and their partner Jim Abrams. It also includes monthly calls with David, and you get to access exclusive content and exciting guest speakers. He also released a book that he co-wrote with his brother Jerry, a fellow Hollywood veteran. He directed Ghost, which I mentioned like 50 times in the episode because like the star power in that family is kind of crazy. But their book is called Surely You Can't Be Serious, The True Story of Airplane. And it's a behind-the-scenes look at the making of the cult classic that redefined comedy and launched a new era of spoof filmmaking. All of these links will be in the show notes for you, along with David's socials, so make sure to check those out. And he talked about all of this in the episode, so get excited. And if you don't follow me already, make sure you follow me at Hannah Aaron Brown across socials. And if you love this podcast, leave it a rating and a review. Send this episode to a friend. That's all the housekeeping I have for you. So without further ado, let's get into it. Here's my conversation with David Zucker. David Zucker, welcome to the podcast. How are you today?
Good. No, it's Zucker.
We talked about this beforehand. You set me up for failure. We're already doing bits.
No, you actually got it right. I'm just giving you a hard time. It's Zucker, yes.
Thank goodness. Thank you so much for coming on. I personally feel really safe right now because we're two Jews from the Midwest, which I think is really nice.
Yeah, I guess that puts us in common.
Yeah, exactly. I have a couple icebreakers to kick things off. Are you game? Okay, great. My first question for you, David, is what is your death row meal?
What is my what?
If you were on death row, what would your last meal be?
Oh, if I was on death row, I think it would be the French dip from Hillstone.
That's a really good answer.
Yeah.
With the horseradish cream and all the stuff?
You know, they offer me horseradish, but I don't take it.
Okay, see, these are the hard-hitting questions that my listeners want to know.
Okay.
Hollywood legend.
It's all, so I'm sure it'll be all downhill from here.
Exactly. Okay, now I'm going to ask you some rapid-fire Wisconsin-centric questions because you are from Wisconsin.
Right, I could probably do those, yeah.
Okay, great. First one, cheese curds or frozen custard?
I don't like either of them.
Great. Milwaukee summer or Milwaukee fall?
Milwaukee fall.
Wisconsin beer or Wisconsin cheese?
Wisconsin beer, I think.
Packers or Brewers?
Packers.
Great, that's it. I feel warmed up now. How do you feel?
I'm a Brewer fan if they start playing in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But I don't keep track of it during the year, and I don't even follow Wisconsin football. But the Packers, I'm all over the Packers. So I have all my friends from Milwaukee come over to my house and we watch it here.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. Yeah. There is a really solid Midwestern presence in LA, which is very comforting to me.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So you kind of got your start in Wisconsin. I want to start early on in your story because I've done a lot of research on you. You've had such a journey from where you started in Wisconsin in the 70s, making films, doing theater, to now. But your comedic journey began with your theater troupe alongside your brother Jerry, who famously directed Ghost, and your close family friend Jim Abrams. And that troupe would eventually turn into Kentucky Fried Theater in Los Angeles and then Kentucky Fried Movie. But how did that all come to be? Like y'all working together and making comedy together?
Well, we were all, I guess we were class clowns in high school. And, but there was still, it was kind of a fun high school. I mean, we knew 5 or 6 guys who were funnier than we were, but they all got jobs after high school and college. So when we were just, we just thought we would start a small theater. This is after college. And we called it Kentucky Fried Theater. We did it for a year on the Madison campus, and it was so successful that we decided to move the show out to LA, and then we opened the Kentucky Fried Theater in LA, which was about 150 seats, which was much bigger than the back of the bookstore in Madison, which was 70 seats.
Dang.
But it became a great laboratory for us to experiment with our comedy. And so we developed a style apart from everybody else. And it was very, very successful in LA. But we wanted to do movies. So we wrote the script to Airplane in 1975. But we couldn't go anywhere. So John Landis came to see our show, and he said, why don't you do a movie based on your show? And so that became Kentucky Fried Movie. And we did that. That was very successful. And then after that, we went back, rewrote the script to Airplane, made it funnier because we had learned a little bit more. And every studio turned it down, but Michael Eisner from Paramount saw something in it, and we got the call. We were at Paramount, and then the fight was to make the studio allow us to direct it. So, and we did. And then this fight was the DGA, the Directors Guild, didn't want us to take the 3-man director credit. So it was always a struggle against this and that, and then trying to cast it. A lot of actors turned us down. 3 actors turned us down before we got to Leslie Nielsen.
Wow. And then you worked with Leslie Nielsen on a bunch of projects, which is really exciting.
Oh, right. And then we knew he was great. So we cast him in Police Squad and Naked Gun. And I also cast him in the Scary Movies. So yeah, he was a good friend and just a wonderful find.
Oh, amazing. I really do miss that. Like, I was watching Airplane in preparation for chatting with you, and like so many recognizable faces in that movie, but some of them, like, it was their first credit. And I miss a time in the industry when fresh new ideas were being made and funded, and you could see fresh faces in movies all the time. It was such an exciting time, I imagine.
Oh, right. It was very different from today when the studios don't want to do anything fresh and original. They want to just stay on the road and do what has been done before. And often it's boring, but occasionally you get studios doing wonderful movies. Like, I just watched Blue Moon. That's great. I think that was from a studio. And, and then the popcorn movies, Top Gun Maverick. That was a great movie.
Had a blast.
A lot of studios, some studios, and of course, you get, the recent Naked Gun, which was just boring. And I mean, I
you didn't work on that at all, right?
I didn't work on it. I was not allowed to.
Okay, this is hot gossip. Why?
I was excluded. I don't know. It could be because in Hollywood, they figure that after age 50, your talent leaves. So, and I actually wrote a script for Naked Gun 4 with Pat Proft and Mike McManus. And we actually know how to do these because we have, 50 years of experience.
No kidding.
Doing this. And so, and Paramount actually liked the script, but a producer named Seth MacFarlane swooped in and brought in Liam Neeson, and they just gave the franchise to him and just locked me out of it. In fact, Seth MacFarlane refused to meet with me.
That is so fucked up.
Yeah, it's so what can you do? All I can say is that's Hollywood. So, and of course the movie, I haven't seen it, but I've heard about it, and it basically flopped and it destroyed the franchise. But that's okay. We have repurposed our original script for that, and we called it Counterintelligence, spelled with one L and a J.
Oh, amazing!
And it's because it's not. Our idea was not to set the movie in a cop station and have an old guy like Leslie Nielsen, and we didn't want to do the same thing. So it's in the world of international espionage. It's Bond-born Mission Impossible, and it's with a younger actor like Andy Samberg. So
fun.
We want to do something fresh, original, and new. And Paramount elected to go with a kind of a hack version of the old Naked Gun with Liam Neeson, who was to replace Leslie Nielsen. And the thing is, I kept saying you can't replace Leslie Nielsen. Think of something new.
Yeah.
But Hollywood doesn't do that. So
that's some good intel, David. Dang. Well, I'm excited to see this movie that you're working on, the reimagining of what would have been Naked Gun 4.
Right, and that's a budget of around $25 million. So it's that's harder to get going. But I'm casting now for a script that I wrote with Pat Proft and Mike McManus called Star of Malta. And that's a film noir. And it's going to be black and white. All the hairstyles are going to be 1940s. And again, nobody's seen anything like this.
Ooh,
so, I'm really excited about doing that.
Well, didn't you initially want to shoot Airplane in black and white because it was a reference to, why am I blanking on the name of the movie?
0 Hour.
0 Hour. Yeah. And then eventually, was it the studio was like, you can't do that and you can't.
Yeah, the studio, Michael Eisner said, no, you can't do it in black and white. And he was right, because it didn't need to be in black and white. I think we were, such purists about, we wanted to make it look like 0 Hour, which was what we were basing it on. So, but it didn't need to be, and he was right. So we did shoot it and we also, it wasn't so much that we wanted to shoot it in black and white, but we wanted it to be on a prop plane. And Eisner just wisely said, no, you should do it on a jet, so that audiences would identify with it. Well, what I'm telling you here is that Eisner and Jeff Katzenberg and Frank Mancuso and Barry Diller were these executives at the time who were wonderful and smart guys, unlike the current Paramount
Talk about
executives.
It. Yeah. Clock it.
Yeah. No, I can't. I can't say enough bad things about them.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't love that that's happening in this industry right now, that it's been such a kind of thankless time, but I love
that's what the industry is like.
Speak about it.
Yeah, you have to fight to get anything good done. And so
100%.
I won't give up. I never give up. And so we're raising the money independently, and we have, and now we're casting it. And in fact, I gave the script to my old friend Peter Farrelly, who did Dumb and Dumber and Something About Mary, and just won the Oscar a couple of years ago for Green Book.
Classics.
And I said, Pete, would you sign on to be executive producer and help us raise money? And so he said, okay, let me read it. And I know that if he didn't like it, he would have had some polite way of saying, I'm too busy or something. But he actually had two of his assistants read it, and they loved it. And then he read it. And he said, of course, David, I'll do anything you want on this. So that was nice.
That's amazing. I think that's like something that's really cool. Like while the industry can be such a bummer and so frustrating, I do think the relationships you make and the loyalties that you keep with the people who you worked with earlier on in your career, I think that's a really exciting and heartwarming part of all of this, you know?
Right. And I'm still close with my brother. And unfortunately, Jim Abrams just died a year ago.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
But I miss him. But he was great. You know, we were just a really effective trio. And, you know, we learned how to do all this stuff, all this spoof, which the makers of Naked Gun 4 didn't know any of these things. In fact, it actually inspired me to create an online course in spoof comedy, which we call Master Crash.
Okay,
So,
I was going to bring this up. This sounds very exciting. Can you talk more about that?
sure. So I realized that people think this stuff is easy.
Oh,
And the people who did Naked Gun 4 are real fans of mine. They love Top Secret, Airplane, Naked Gun, BASEketball. And I guess it looked easy for them. And so they thought they could do it, but they don't know without using the rules, because Jim and Jerry and I and Pat evolved over all these years 15 rules of spoof comedy. So, and that's what I'm teaching. In addition to that, there's 100 or more glossary terms that we call. But it's just, you know, you can't teach anybody to be funny, but you can save them a lot of time by having them avoid the obvious mistakes, which weren't so obvious to the makers of Naked Gun 4. So,
no
and you
kidding.
can see it. And yeah. So, and I'm probably going to use it, clips from it in the course, although I don't want to see it. So
You'll have someone else screen the clips.
I have my staff who's working on it, and they'll watch it and suggest clips.
Exactly.
But I did see the trailer, and then
You said, I've seen everything I need to see.
but as I said at the time, you can't unsee these things. You know, it's when something's that egregious
In your face.
it's tough for me to watch. So it's like you know, I never saw Two Girls, One Cup because I knew you couldn't unsee that stuff.
I didn't even know, respectfully, I wouldn't have guessed that you knew about Two Girls, One Cup.
I do, yeah. I heard about it, and so I didn't want to see it because it sticks in your mind. So
It does. I literally brought that up to my husband like within the last week, and I was like, "Do you think it was real?" And he was like, "Yes, Hannah, I think it was real. Why would you bring that up?" Anyways, question.
Yeah.
So working closely with Jim and Jerry, you were like such close family friends. I mean, like your dad worked with Jim's dad, and your moms were friends, and your sisters were college roommates. Like, and I've heard you talk about how the three of you were always just so confident in this style that you were developing, in your taste, in your sense of comedy. Was there ever any doubt that like one of you would like fall off, or was there ever any doubt of like one of your levels of commitment to what you were all creating, or were you always sort of like a united front together as you continued in your career?
Well, I think, did you read the book? Because in the book, we kind of describe it. It's called Surely You Can't Be Serious, the true story of Airplane.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if Jim's commitment was, so it was not 100%. So we had a big success. Jim was just purely funny. He was not ambitious. Jerry and I had a lot of ambition, and we were just, loaded for bear, just, headstrong and everything.
Yeah.
And I think we were supported by our parents a lot in that, and they supported us, and Jim didn't have that. But Jim was so talented that it was good to have someone like that as the third member of the trio, because he supplied stuff that Jerry and I didn't. Jim, all the bite is from Jim. When the little girl says, "I take it black like my men," that's Jim. And when Julie says, I remember how I used to sit on your face and wriggle. I mean, in Airplane, those are all Jim's. And Jim, the three of us would sit around, we'd all write together, but Jim would do the typing. And Jim would love to type stuff in like those lines and then not tell us. And then we'd read it, and
funny.
Jerry and I would crack up. Yeah.
Oh, that's such a fun little surprise. You're like, oh, didn't realize that was in there. As a millennial, I grew up on Scary Movie, and I know you directed Scary Movies 3, 4, and 5.
Right.
have
No, I didn't do 5. I just did
3 and
3
4.
and 4.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
so sorry. 3 and 4.
No, I haven't said. I mean, I produced. I was the producer on 5.
There we go.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed the IMDb Pro user interface is not as user friendly as it used to be? They've made it very
I can't even use it.
It's made it
But
very
you're
confusing.
right. I think it's impossible for for an elderly person like me to
I'm
use.
34. I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
But there's a moment in Scary Movie 3 where Cameron Manheim's hat just keeps getting bigger as she gets into the car. And I cry laughing during that scene. Were there ever any moments on set where you just like couldn't not break during a scene?
No, you write it and then you live with that script for a long time and you rehearse it. And, so we didn't crack up. However, when you bring that up, it's one of the things we teach in Master Crash.
Oh, amazing.
About how to background something. And a joke that we had in the blow to that, as we say, was it was just the hat driving off with the hat with wheels. It was gigantic, but it didn't get a laugh.
Interesting.
Because we test everything. And if it doesn't get a laugh, we cut it. But then only recently, while I was teaching, and we have interactions with the students, they ask me questions and stuff. And that joke came up. Everybody liked it. And so I told them about the hat driving off that didn't work. And now I know why it didn't work. I figured it out from teaching this class because it should have been backgrounded. Cameron Manheim should have been in the foreground, like thinking or saying something. And then you see it in the background, just the hat driving off. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That is good.
Yeah, no, I really study this and I always wonder why a joke doesn't work or why a movie doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And, one of my first go-to concepts is don't blame other people.
Ugh.
It's just like, it must be something, because I've had a few flops and, which are now cult classics.
I was going to say, I've heard you talk about how BASEketball was a flop, and that was news to me because
nobody knows that. It's like everybody.
People
it's my
love
son's
that movie.
It's my son's favorite movie. I love it.
Oh yeah.
I also love Top Secret.
Mm-hmm.
But there's I know why it didn't perform when it was released.
Oh my gosh. If I had a nickel for every time in high school, like I would be at a get together with a big group of friends and some high school boy would be like, guys, everyone sit down and shut up. We're watching BASEketball. I would be a very rich woman. Like that was the vibe. We put it on all
that's
the time.
And people actually played the game.
Yes.
On their drive. Yeah.
Which so you actually invented BASEketball in real
I
life.
invented it with a friend of mine. We were playing
Hilarious.
Tip Horse. Have you ever played Tip Horse?
Yes.
So we got bored with that, and then we said, okay, if you tip in a shot, it's a double play, and you shoot from a free throw, it's a single, and on and on, and we made the rules, and then people would come to play, and the losers would have to buy the winners dinner at Flaky Jake's, which is a hamburger place that's no longer there, and then pretty soon it was just 1-on-1. Then quickly it was 2-on-2. My brother played, and our friend John Scheinfeld. And then it got to be a 3-on-3, and then more people wanted to play. So it eventually became 8 teams.
Holy crap.
3 guys on a team. Everybody wore uniforms. The city closed off the street for the championship game.
Oh my God.
Which was called the Denslow Cup because that was the name of the street. Yeah, it was amazing. And
that's
so
like,
pretty
it's
much
like Field of Dreams.
Yeah, it was, but we all, it was a silly sport, but we took it seriously. Everybody wanted to win.
Mm-hmm. And that's honestly kind of the thesis of your spoof style comedy is, it's funny, but it's very serious to the people involved.
Right. Yeah. Everybody takes it seriously. So, and in BASEketball with Matt Stone and Trey Parker, they were taking it seriously. They really wanted to win, and they were just guys, so they created this sport. And we had Bob Costas and Al Michaels announcing it. And
an incredible, iconic film. Also, I just in one lifetime, you've worked with Jenny McCarthy and Priscilla Presley. Like, what iconic divas were they? Just the best to work with?
They were all of them. I can't think of anybody who was difficult, but Priscilla was just so sweet. Just, when you think of what she must have gone through. I mean,
oh my
she was
gosh.
married to the king and, in that kind of atmosphere, but she was just so sweet, the girl next door. And, just, yeah, we didn't really hang out socially, but, working with her was great. And I never had to direct her. She had it absolutely. And the first table read, she was very worried. She said, I don't know how to be funny. And I said, you don't have to be funny. Just let the lines do the work. And that's what I've said to every actor and actress ever since then. Just let the lines do the work. Anyone can do this. As long as it's original and you don't have to, and you're not copying. I think Liam Neeson had a steep hill to climb because they put him in the position of having to replace Leslie Nielsen. And I mean, Liam is a fine actor. He's amazing. And which is also another rule, kind of a glossary term. You don't want A-listers. You want B-movie actors, like Lloyd Bridges and Leslie Nielsen and Robert Stack. These guys didn't win Oscars.
I feel like we don't have B-movie actors anymore. Like, I really feel like as someone who lives in LA and is pursuing a career in like acting and writing and all of the above, it does feel like high school all over again, where it's like everyone who gets to work is the popular kids and everyone else is just like, oh, I hope I get invited to the dance. I really want to go. It's a horrible feeling. It's
a crazy business that attracts crazy people.
Ain't that the truth? You've talked about how early on, with your style of comedy, like back when you were in school, how you would make like student films with Jerry and other people in your film classes were creating these like really artsy, like esoteric style films. Right. Did that ever like get in your head or give you imposter syndrome? Or were you just like, they're doing this, I'm doing this, and it's fine?
Jerry and I were always so self-confident, so headstrong, and I guess a bit naive because we loaded up a U-Haul truck. We went to LA. There was no doubt in our mind that we were going to make it. People said, what was your plan B? And we had no plan B. I mean, I would make jokes. I would say, well, I always have my dad's mattress business to fall back. But, we never even thought that we wouldn't make it because we just thought we had machine guns in the Civil War. We were just, we had invented a new style. I mean, even then in the Kentucky Fried Theater, and nobody else was doing anything like it.
That's amazing. I think to be that self-assured at such a young age is really special because I think it's so easy during those like formative years as a creative.
They have doubts. Yeah,
exactly. And to kind of be like, well, what do I bring to the table? And knowing that not only you had something to bring to the table, but something unique and special that wasn't being done that's awesome.
No, we absolutely felt that. And, the frustration for me was that things didn't happen earlier. And that's in the book. I was the one who thought we should have been doing Airplane in 1975 instead of 1980. Yeah. And Jim and Jerry, they weren't so concerned about it. They said, okay, we'll wait. I was always the one who was agitated.
Yeah, I feel that. That resonates with me. It's also crazy because you were, 33 when Airplane was in theaters?
I guess, yeah. 80? I was probably 33, yeah.
I did some Googling and I hear wow, 33, you wrote and directed a movie. It's in theaters. I'm like, you've made it. That's so young to have made it. But I can understand too, how you had been working on that for so long that there's ants in your pants for okay, when is
right. I thought we should have been doing it earlier. However, things usually work out for the best, which I have found because I don't think we could have done it in 1975 when we wrote that first draft. We needed to be on the set as writers of Kentucky Fried Movie. We had never been on a movie set before. And we watched John Landis direct, and John did a great job. And he took half of our suggestions, but I think we knew that when we did Airplane, we needed to direct it. We couldn't, and Paramount really wanted to, hire a director, a real director. And we just kept saying no.
Oh, and they listened to you.
Yeah, well, we just said we weren't going to. We owned the script. We didn't sell them the script right away.
Smart.
Yeah, we had that leverage that, and Jerry and I used to joke, everybody, the script was so powerful. I mean, everybody was going, yes, Mr. Script, no, Mr. Script. Yes, it was that script. I think and even then, I don't think the studio knew exactly what it was. I think they probably thought it was more like Animal House on an airplane.
Mm-hmm.
But when they finally gave in and allowed us to direct, they had two provisos that we had to take their executive producer, Howard Koch, who turned out to be great. And the other clause was that they could fire us after 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
And we said, that's fine. Yeah, okay, go ahead and fire. So John Davison, our brilliant producer, scheduled on the first day in the cockpit, Lorna Patterson, Julie Haggard, Bob Hayes, and Leslie Nielsen. And it was the Shirley, you can't be serious. And Leslie says, I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Yeah.
So that was in the dailies, and everybody cracked up. And the studio kind of went crazy and called us and said, don't worry, we're not going to fire you.
Amazing.
And it was kind of odd to us that they didn't get it before that. They didn't know how we were going to direct it. And what we did in our direction was make sure everybody was completely serious, dead serious, as though they didn't know they were in a comedy. And everybody acted that way in Airplane and in the Naked Guns.
Yeah.
And that's how we did it.
That moment in Airplane where that woman starts singing a song to the sick kid and then the sick kid fully starts suffocating.
Right.
I started crying laughing. But those are really high stakes, and that's why it's funny.
Right. And it still works today. A lot of that stuff is timeless.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Also, Julie Haggerty as Elaine. I mean, this was her first credit ever.
Yeah.
Did you see her audition and just know immediately, like, that's her?
Yes, we knew immediately. She started, and we had read some really good actresses. I think Shelley Long from Cheers.
Wow.
And Sigourney Weaver.
Wow.
And they were good. And we were kind of saying, yeah, that could work. But when Julie read it, we actually laughed. Made us laugh out loud. And we looked at each other. This is our actress. This is our Elaine. Yeah.
That's so inspiring because, like, growing up, she always played like the very sweet but hilarious mom in movies like Just Friends. And it's so interesting to see that that's how she got her start, because I feel like she found such a gorgeous niche with that role that she kind of could continue to ride out as she got older,
Right. And she kind of played the same character. Woody Allen saw Airplane and loved it and cast her in Midsummer Night's Dream or something, or
I'm like, sure. I don't know. Yeah, she's one of those people where anytime I see her, I'm just like, oh, I'm in for a treat. I'm going to start laughing hysterically.
Oh, yeah. No, and she's the sweetest person. And Robert Hayes is also wonderful.
I recognized him from Homeward Bound. I was like, oh, that's the hunky dad from Homeward Bound. Nice to see his earlier
he started
work.
Playing dad roles later.
Yeah. But I was like, dang, he could get it in those early days. Good for him.
Yeah, he's still a close friend. We actually he's the only one who was in Airplane who just remained a friend. So
that's really
I
cool.
see Bob all the time, although he lives in Hawaii now.
Good for him.
But we've gone on tour showing Airplane.
That's so fun.
And doing a Q&A afterwards. And he's very funny on stage.
Oh my gosh. You need to do another one. I want to go.
Oh, yeah. Well, I want to do new stuff. Actually, Paramount wanted us to. Oh, you mean another
like tour?
Tour, yeah. Well, we might, but I think I'm going to start touring with Naked Gun now, because Naked Gun was recently cited in a poll done by Variety from 100 comedies, the funniest comedy ever made. It was, Naked Gun, not Airplane. So now there's a lot of interest in having me go around and do Naked Gun. So
you should be so fun. Yeah, you also, I've heard you talk about how you had films that you really believed in that didn't do as well. We briefly touched on BASEketball and Top Secret. And I think this industry has such an insane way of like humbling us and then like reminding us like how important it is to kind of keep our dreams alive, because one second you can feel like you're kind of somewhat floundering, and then the next second you get this like amazing opportunity. And I wanted to ask, like, what did it feel like going into Scary Movie 3 after those last couple movies didn't necessarily perform as well as your others?
Yeah, what happens in Hollywood is that if you direct a flop, you're in director jail for 16 months.
So frustrating.
Yeah. So, but I had other stuff. I had a nice marriage, two great kids, and so
Right.
I mean, I still had a happy life, and then I did a movie called My Boss's Daughter,
Ashton
which
Kutcher,
was probably the only Ashton Kutcher movie to flop. So, so I really had a string there. I was trying, but Bob Weinstein called, and Bob said, Zucker, you're a better director than your material. And so, and even though the Ashton Kutcher movie didn't do anything, when he couldn't make a deal with the Wayans for Scary Movie 3, he called me and he said, "Would you like to direct it?" And I said, "Sure." And I thought the Wayans were great.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought their movies were very funny, but all I understood was that they couldn't make a deal, which happens sometimes. And so I took over the franchise, recruited Craig Mazin, who ended up writing two of the Hangover movies, and Pat Proft, my longtime writing partner. They did the script, and it just turned out great. It was, it was a huge hit and a critical success too. And Scary Movie 4 did almost as well.
Yeah.
So
I saw both of those in theaters. I bought a ticket.
Yeah. And they were fun. They were fun movies. I mean, they weren't what the Wayans did. And I think that I recently saw a clip of Marlon Wayans did an interview with Shannon Sharp, and he seemed very bitter about that the franchise was stolen from him. But I when I saw the trailer for their new Naked Gun, Naked Gun 6, I put it on my Instagram. I said, "This is fabulous. I hope everybody goes to see it." But I think he seemed to be kind of miffed that, we did Scary 3, and he kind of implied that he didn't like it. And I don't know why, because Anna Faris and Regina Hall were fabulous in it.
I mean,
as
come on.
was Kevin Hart and Anthony Anderson. We had such a great cast.
That cast was crazy.
Charlie Sheen. Anyway, so, but I just, no matter what Marlon says, I am a fan of the Wayans, and I just hope they tear the roof off with Scary Movie 6.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. There's also that shot in Scary Movie 3 where Samara is trying to attack someone and someone holds their hand out like that and holds her head away.
Yeah.
And that bit always gets me.
Yeah. It's, I think Marlon said, I keep going back to Marlon Wayans, but he said, you can't do the Wayans, but the Wayans, it's apples and oranges.
Right.
The Wayans did great for their two Scary movies.
Right.
And we did something completely different. We did PG-13. We did very Naked Gun airplane style jokes. And that's an orange. So, the trouble you get in the industry is not that, but when someone like Seth MacFarlane tries to do an apple and he can't. So, if I can give you these fruit analogies. Yes.
I'm loving them.
You like my fruit stuff? Yeah, good.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm learning so much. Yeah. That's actually a nice natural segue. With kind of like just the industry as it stands now, we have like all these conversations about like AI, and then there was like, COVID and the writer's strike and the wildfires, and a lot of things aren't being shot here anymore. Is there anything you think that the industry could really use right now to sort of elevate it, bring it back a little bit?
Well, I think they need to allow filmmakers to do new ideas rather than going with what they think are tried and true, tested old ideas. So, and there are a lot of new ideas being done. So, or great executions of old ideas like Top Gun Maverick. Right. So I don't want to say that all big studio movies are bad or all superhero movies are bad, but everybody is doing them. It's kind of the same old ideas, but I think fresh ideas do succeed. But I think a lot of studio executives are just frightened of their jobs and not very creative. And, back in 1980, Michael Eisner was a studio executive who was brilliant, and he didn't mind taking a chance on something. And when we wrote the book, he's the first one I went to. As soon as I had my hands on a hard copy, I went to Michael Eisner's office and gave it to him, signed by all three of us. And because we owe him our careers, because he's the shining example of a studio executive, unlike today's. And I don't say everybody is, just the moronic Paramount executives, but I know I have something to compare it to. And, if we ever do a movie of our lives, of the book, Surely You Can't Be Serious, which I think would be a good idea.
You should.
We would portray these executives not as the bumbling idiots, but as heroes, and which would be new in Hollywood biopics.
That's so true. And it's also so true that, like, I mean, I can only speak to this industry because it's the one that I'm in, but like it is really incredible how the ripple effect that can occur in your own career and your own success when you have someone in an authority position who genuinely believes in you and is willing to.
It takes, and today I have two producers that really believe in me, Hunt Lowry and Steve Small, and they are going out and putting this movie together.
Hell yeah!
And they totally believe in this movie. I mean, Steve Small said, "Oh, David, this is your Annie Hall," because it takes spoof to a new level. I mean, I'd love to do counterintelligence again, but it's the same Naked Gun style spoof. But Star of Malta is a whole. It's really puts story first. And another thing that I'm teaching in Master Crash is to make the story first and then the jokes secondary.
I've heard you say that about I believe it was Top Secret, where you were like, the script didn't quite work, and I think it was for similar reasons.
The mistake the mistake that we made was we failed to give the lead actor a intrinsic a mind problem that he had to solve, like Robert Hayes had in Airplane. He had PTSD from some, war disaster.
Right.
So, and at the end, it's the only thing the audience cares about is that thing. Like in Ruthless People, they cared about that Bette Midler and Judge Reinhold and Helen Slater, had a character change. They learned something and they were able, and it's the only thing the audience cares about. But on the way, it's fun to do the jokes, of course, but
absolutely.
To get a hit movie, you need that ending.
Yeah, totally. So Star of Malta is in pre-production right now?
It's in pre-production. I mean, early pre-production. We're casting, and we're looking at lead actors, and
that's so exciting.
So, and then we'll set a start date, and we'll do it. And nobody's going to see this coming.
Ooh, I'm so excited.
It's so different. Yeah.
Can't wait to get a ticket and see it on the big screen. I've also heard that you're executive producing a German film called Oktoberfest. I'm told.
Yes, that's really exciting. So
tell me about that.
I just kind of signed on to, exec produce it, and because I have fun making movies, and and we pitched this movie to Amazon Europe, saying it's got to be characters first. And they were surprised to hear that, because they think of me as just a joke guy, and I am a joke guy. But, what I've learned is that you just have to do character first, then plot, and then jokes. And the head of Amazon said, well, you'd never heard of anything pitched like that before. So they signed us on, and originally it was supposed to be the German gun. They kind of wanted to do a naked gun, but I don't want to do that anymore because, again, it's the same old thing. I want to do something new. So this movie is not a spoof. It's an actual real story with real characters and real character art. So, and then the first draft of the script wasn't very good, but we all got in a room here and we rewrote it in 2 weeks.
That's amazing.
And it's great, if I do say myself. And so we're waiting to hear from Amazon what they think of it. And if they like it, we'll go into production.
Knock on wood. Very exciting. And then I also hear you're launching your podcast, Naked Comedy, soon. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yes, we're launching that. We've banked about 8 of them so far. And we haven't released it yet. But it's a teaching podcast, but it's so fun. A lot of actors, writers, producers, some very well-known writers of well-known movies, and they've all been great, including all my relatives, of course. My sister's in it, and my brother. And my brother, in addition to being a relative, has done some movies. So, so he's worthy of doing this. Yeah, right. Ghost.
Come on.
It was so great. Ghost was nominated for Best Picture when they were only 5 nominees. So that's how good of a movie that was. And then, of course, the Academy, thinking these movies direct themselves, did not nominate Jerry for Best Director. But
unbelievable.
It's like you can't do movies to get awards.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. Last thing I want to say is I know you produced A Walk in the Clouds.
Yes.
And that, my mom is no longer with us, but that was one of her favorite movies. She loved it so much. So it really feels kismet that I got to chat with you today.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
I'm so glad we got to talk.
Fun movie to work on. And Keanu Reeves kept calling me Mr. Zucker. And it's which I kept looking behind me. I thought my dad might be here. Yeah.
Very respectful actor.
He's so respectful, so nice. And I hear a million stories about him, how wonderful he is.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Oh, I love that so much. Well, is there anything else you want to plug before we say goodbye today? Thank you so much again for being here.
No, I can't think of anything. Just the what? Oh, yeah, my social media, whatever that is.
Oh, yeah.
It's at the David Zucker or something, or I think I'm the David Zucker. I don't even know what it is.
It's all going to be in the show notes. Listeners,
it'll all be, you can put in the show. Yeah, it's, I'm sure it's all there. And then the last thing I want to plug is Lincoln as the capital of Nebraska.
Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that.
If that's the takeaway from this, I'll be happy.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Yeah, listeners, make sure to read David's books. Keep an eye out for Star of Malta. Follow David on social media. If you don't follow me already, follow me at Hannah Aaron Brown. Leave this podcast a rating and a review. Thank you all so much for listening. And we'll see you soon.
And happy Purim, yes.
Hey, you too.
Okay.